Hey there, Pixies and Peeps! Thanks for tuning in again to the Purple Pixie, and welcome back to the Fairy Garden, which is what I call my craft room. My goal is to make magical DIYs, but you may think they're mishaps. Either way, I invite you to let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're new here, I highly encourage you to join the Pixie Party by hitting subscribe and ringing my bell so you'll know every time I upload a video. Today's video is part of a monthly collab called the Minis Challenge, hosted by Crafted by Corie and held the third Friday of each month. If you've never heard of Corie, I find that hard to believe. You should really go check her channel out. She's an awesome crafter. I'll leave the link to her channel and this playlist in the description box below. Now let's dive right into our first summer-themed mini, Kato's Surf Shack. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of summer, the last thing I think about is cute little mini DIYs sitting on a tiered tray. But perhaps that's because I live in South Louisiana. So when I think of summer, I think of heat, humidity, sweat, bugs, all the above. But I also think of the beach. So I'm going to take a bunch of these jumbo craft sticks and a few of the miniature tumbling tower blocks, and we're going to make a surf shack. I start by cutting all of the rounded ends off of these jumbo craft sticks and lining them up with a ruler so that they're flush. And then I run a line across the top so I'll know where to cut the rest. When cutting craft sticks or popsicle sticks, I find it easiest to use my tin shears. They cut like scissors, but they don't dull like scissors. They're also easier to control and therefore keep your little pieces from flying across the room. So there's a little tip for you. Now, to hold these craft sticks together, I'm just taking another craft stick and gluing it to the back. Kind of like a picket fence. Or even a pallet, if you will. Then I take these little mini tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to glue one to each side of the bottom of these craft sticks. And then I cut down another jumbo craft stick to fit in the middle, just to hold the other ones together. And now I will cut down another craft stick for each side to hold it up kind of like a brace. However, I did find out that brace didn't work so well. So, some more mini tumbling tower blocks to the rescue. Glued them to the bottom and it helped this stand up better. Now with every pack of jumbo craft sticks, you're going to have some that are a little wonky or warped or bowed, but I save those for things like this. I can kind of bend them back into shape a little bit, and I'm gluing 2 together and I'm making 6 pairs of these. Once I have all 6 pairs glued together, I'm then going to glue them on top of each other in a staggered motion, kind of like making a stairway. If you haven't guessed it already, this is going to be our roof. Now to hold our roof onto our storefront, I'm going to go ahead and use some more mini tumbling tower blocks and glue them on the bottom inside of the roof, and then glue the tumbling tower blocks onto the storefront. It's a little confusing to explain, but you'll see what I'm doing here. I was originally going to leave the roof blank and just glue on some raffia, but I decided to go for a shingles look instead. So I'm cutting down some more craft sticks and I'm going to glue them lengthwise onto the roof. I decided to put another layer of shingles on the roof, so I took the half of the craft sticks that I cut off and I'm gluing those in between each shingle. But as I put the ones on the ends, I decided that it still needed another shingle underneath. So I kind of just kept adding to this to make it look more even. Sadly, I know some real roofers that probably would have left it as is. But down here in the south, where we get hurricanes a lot, we take our roofs seriously. And once again, to finish off the ends, I have to take another craft stick and cut it in half. I'm using my nail emery board to kind of file it down to keep the splinters at bay. And I do the same for the other side and just glue them on to make it even. And voila, we have a finished roof. Now what is a surf shack without a surfboard? So we're taking some more craft sticks and gluing them together, and I'm just going to sketch out the shape of a surfboard. And then I will cut it out with my tin snips and file it down till it is about the right size and shape. Now to finish off the side of our shack, I'm cutting down some more craft sticks and I'm going to measure them to fit underneath the eave of the roof. I'm going to trim it off at an angle and glue it to the tumbling tower block as well as the eave of the roof. And I'll do that with another piece to finish off the side of the building. And to hold those together a little bit better, another piece of craft stick glued right to the middle. Now, as if constructing this hasn't been fun enough, the real fun gets started when you get to painting. Choose whatever colors you like, but I chose to go with some muted colors because this is supposed to be weathered and beachy looking. So for the first coat, I'm going in with a very dry, very light coat of my folk art chalk paint in the color oatmeal. And I only did one light coat because I still wanted the wood from the craft sticks to kind of peek through. And now for the roof, I'm going to use my Waverly chalk paint again in the color Celery. Once again, it's going to be a light, kind of dry brush coat, but I want to make sure that I get in between the cracks of each shingle and up underneath it as well. By the way, if you're new here, I'd like to welcome you. My name is Crystal, and I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel and become a part of the Pixie Party. Go ahead and introduce yourself in the comments below, because I love making new friends and cheap DIYs. And y'all, I love this color. It's called Agave, and it's so beautiful. I just don't get to use it that often. So I took this craft stick and I cut down the edges to kind of make it look like a broken piece of board. This is going to be the sign for our surf shop. It's going to stand out really well against that oatmeal color. And of course our surf shop needs some doors as well, so I'm going to take the opportunity to paint those in Agave as well. Next on the list of things to paint is our surfboard. So I'm going to take my homemade yellow chalk paint and give it some bright color. And now I'm going to take the Agave again, and I'm going to very lightly dry brush it onto every other panel on the front of the surf shop. And now to distress it with some mineral, I'm going to lightly go over every panel on the front of the surf shop, as well as the shingles on the roof. But I decided that still wasn't colorful enough for me, so I go back in with the yellow chalk paint and I paint every other panel and the edges of the shingles. And now with my paint pens, I'm going to go in and make the signs for the front of our surf shop. This is Cato's Surf Shop, so I'm going in with white and just freehanding it and kind of making the letters a little wonky. Of course, our door needed some doorknobs, and the surfboard needs to show our customers what's available inside, like surfboard rentals and cold drinks. While I'm at it, I'm just going to draw a few little designs on it, as well as go around the outside of our doors just to give them a little more pop of color and make them stand out. I'll also go around the edges of the other signs, and then I will give them a little dry brushing just to distress them a bit to make them look more beachy. And now to assemble the signs to the front of the shack. And of course, what surf shack doesn't sell wax or give lessons? So we're putting those signs on as well. Of course, I stuck my finger right in the wet paint and had to go back over it, but I still think it came out super cute. And now for our second DIY, the Beach Bum Gnome. To make our Beach Bum Gnome, we're going to take this empty nutrition shake bottle and fill it about a third of the way with some rocks. And now I'm taking an old grocery bag and on a low temp glue gun, I'm just going to tack it together so it doesn't unravel when I put it onto the nutrition shake bottle. This is just going to fluff up our gnome a little bit and give him a bit of a gut. Because when was the last time you saw a beach bum that didn't have a gut? The thing I like about making gnomes is I get to use my solo socks. And by that, I mean the socks that come out of the dryer as a solo. I stick them into a bin and save them in case I ever find the other one, but if I don't, then it's gnome time. And since this ankle sock is just the right size for this protein shake bottle, I just glued the bottom edge around the bottom of the bottle. Now I'm taking a rubber band and I'm going to cinch the top. I want this gnome's beard to be kind of rustic and weathered looking, like he lives on the beach. So I'm taking this chunky yarn and I'm going to cut it into strips and fold those in half in order to make his beard. But before I do that, I decide to take some of this extra fabric that I have on hand and make that into the bottom half, or bottom rim, shall we say, of his hat. I had every intention of making this right, and that's why you see me gluing a hem onto the fabric. But I just couldn't seem to leave well enough alone. And you'll see what I mean here in just a little bit. Once I have a nice little hem glued down, I attach it to the hat with some hot glue. Now, that looks fine, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. Let's take the rubber band off and try to put the rubber band around the top of the fabric as well as the sock. But nope, I'm just not feeling that either. So I take the rubber band off and I glue the fabric to the sock in order to make it look more like one cohesive piece. Okay, I think that looks better. Now let's move on to the beard. Or let's not. Let's decide to put another strip of fabric on the bottom rim of the hat, just to make it a little bit longer. Now that I'm happy with the hat, let's move on to the beard. I took the strips of yarn and I folded them in half and started gluing them to the bottom rim of his hat. And a few strips in, I realized that how am I going to hide the beard? So once again, I took another strip of the fabric, and this time I'd made some more hems, and I was going to glue the beard to the inside of the fabric. I did one layer at the bottom, and then with a few pieces I had left, I staggered them up above that just to give it a little bit more depth. And then I trimmed it off, well, the top of the fabric that is, and glued it onto the bottom rim of the hat again. And even though he's a beach bum, he still deserves a haircut. So I trimmed off the ends of the yarn until they were flush. Now for his little nose and his arms, I'm going to take this little wooden bead and a couple of pieces of craft sticks that I've cut down to size for his arms, and I'm going to paint them in the color light mocha because he's a beach bum, so he's got to have a tan, right? But if I can't go to the beach without getting a sunburn, neither can he. So I'm taking the color salmon chalk paint and I'm mixing it with some of the light mocha, and I'm giving it a good little brush onto the craft sticks and the wooden bead. Last but not least, what would a beach bum be without a beach ball? So I took this ping pong ball and stuck it on a skewer, and I'm using my acrylic paint markers to color the stripes red, blue, and yellow, just like a beach ball. And now once all of those are dry, it's time to put the little nose, arms, and beach ball on our gnome. Just look at that little gut he has. Isn't that so cute? And now I'm going to put the little beach ball right in the middle and glue his little hands as if he's holding it. I may have struggled with him a little bit, but I could not be happier with how he turned out. So are you ready for the final reveal? Well, here it is. So, what do you think of my summer-themed minis? Were they magic or mishap? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, please go ahead and subscribe, like, and ring my bell so you'll know every time I upload a video. If you're already a subscriber and part of the Pixie Party, I want to say welcome back. Thank you so much for all of your support, because without you, I would not be here. And once again, a huge thank you to Corie for hosting this minis challenge every month. I always have so much fun creating and coming up with these DIYs. And with all that being said, I'd just like to ask that you be the sunshine in someone else's day. Thank you so much for watching, and please remember that all of me loves all of you.